In the next several lectures, we're going to start with one of the big five areas in linguistics, the study of phonology. Actually, we're going to be looking at phonetics first, and I'll explain the difference a bit later. But this entire section is related to the sounds of speech. One of the most confounding realities of speech is the extremely wide variety of sounds produced within the different dialects of the language. Jeff Foxworthy likes to tell jokes where he would say a word like mayonnaise and then use it in a sentence like mayonnaise a rattler in the barn. Or look at this dialogue. Can you see the joke? M are ducks. M are not ducks. OSMR, CM Wangs? LIB, you're right. M are ducks. Told you so. What fascinates me about this joke is that the sounds of speech aren't even close. Moreover, it is not standard English to say them are ducks. Doesn't matter. When you hear it, you can understand it. In fact, it sounds super bizarre when someone actually produces all of the sounds in an utterance. Listen to my production of the formal sentences and then listen to the casual. Give me some of your time. Give me some of your time. In conversation, as a listener, you would prefer the latter instead of the former. Can't you change the bulb? In casual speech, especially from someone with an Anson dialect, might say, can't you change the bulb? Or consider how we're able to hear and detect dialect. Click and Clack, the Tappet brothers, two Boston car repairmen who used to have a radio show on NPR, used to really play the Boston dialect when reading their mailing address for the Car Talk quiz, Harvard Square. The casual pronunciation is not only varied from the formal, it is often preferred. Phonetics, then, are the sounds of speech. In this case, we're trying to understand precisely the nature of the sound and how it can be characterized. The production of phonemes varies from speaker to speaker and by dialect as well. Phoneticians are eager to accurately capture and communicate the acoustic qualities of a speech sound. Phonology, on the other hand, focuses upon the rules that specify the ways in which those sounds are combined. For example, in English, we are not likely to allow words to start with a VL blend. We were willing to borrow Russian names like Vladimir, but we haven't had many words in English that we created with VL blends in the initial position. Vlog may be an exception to the rule if it sticks. Phonology also describes the rules by which sounds or even entire syllables are changed or dropped. Two other definitions are important here: the distinction between phonemes and allophones. Phonemes are the smallest unit that can distinguish meaning. Allophones are variant productions of a sound that do not change meaning. For example, if I change the first sound in bat to a p sound, we simply changed the voicing of the sound. We changed the meaning of the utterance entirely. Bat to pat. Keep in mind, b and p are distinguishing meaning. They don't mean anything, but they are contributing to a differential semantic unit when combined with the at nucleus. Allophones, on the other hand, are changes in production that don't change meaning. For example, I can say pie, or I can say pie. In the second production has a p sound that is much more aspirated. There's an audible friction in the release of the p in pie. But in these variants, there's not a difference in meaning. Slight variations that result in changes to meaning are phonemes, and slight variations that don't result in changes to meaning are allophones. We'll focus most of our attention in this class on phonemes. When linguists and others working in phonetics and phonology want to communicate or memorialize speech in writing, we can't rely upon the English alphabet. First, we all know that the letter C gets one of 3 different pronunciations depending upon the context, and the vowels are notoriously bad. Also, we only have 26 letters, but we have 44 speech sounds in English. So we use the International Phonetic Alphabet to graphically represent the sounds of speech. This isn't the only available phonetic alphabet. When I worked on a Department of Defense project in the early 90s, I had to use a phonetic alphabet called the ARPAbet that represented sounds with ASCII characters. But the IPA is the most widely used approach. The IPA is useful in that it A, provides for a single syllable for each sound, B, provides for allophonic variances of those sounds, and C, provides symbols for speech in all languages, not just English. There are some extensions to the IPA. Students in speech pathology have to learn the EXT IPA to capture and describe disordered speech. In the near future, we'll get into these charts, the vowel chart and the consonant chart, but I want to show them here to illustrate the wide variety of symbols for the sounds that comprise speech on a broad scale of languages. The key takeaway from this video is that phonetics are the study of the acoustic characteristics of speech sounds, that phonemes are the smallest unit that can distinguish meaning, and that allophones are variations of production that do not change meaning. We'll meet phonology a bit later in the series. In the next video, we'll meet the systems involved in speech production, including the respiratory system, the laryngeal system, and the supralaryngeal system.